Welcome to Confessions of a Wedding Band, brought to you by all of us here at the Martini Shot. This is a podcast where we document our shenanigans both on and off stage, and we discuss our originals. We are a band out of Southern Colorado that has been around for 25 years, and we've got fun stories that we'd like to remember. Our first idea was to write a book with all these stories, but we've never written anything outside of a Facebook post, or for those of you old enough out there, a MySpace post. Thus, Confessions of a Wedding Band was born. Shoot it around for some introductions. I'm Brian. I'm the host of the show, and I play trumpet in the band.
I'm Steven. I play sax and now play guitar in the band.
I'm Andy, singer and guitar.
I'm Brooke. Play bass and sing.
Ryan, guitar.
Rob, saxophone and keys.
I'm Greg, and I play the drums.
Let's jump in with this episode story. All right, who's going to kick us into this one?
So we go all the way to Craig, which is how far away?
That's at the very corner of
top.
Yeah,
It's about
north,
4 hours
east.
maybe.
It's like about 4 listens of Greg's new CD.
That is something we should talk about.
It scared me.
Was that the one that scared you?
So Greg drove, and we had the trailer with us,
Trailer.
right?
Yeah.
So we
rented a
piled in.
U-Haul, I think. Didn't we? We didn't have the white trailer then.
Oh, we didn't?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we hadn't
I think we
argued about
rented.
that yet.
Oh, okay. We hadn't had that fight yet. So we rented a U-Haul and hitched it to Greg's truck and drove to Craig, Colorado. And for those of you who don't know, Greg is a metal musician and records his own metal work. And that's really the main purpose of his studio, was to record all of his original music. And it's heavy.
And he plays every
Everything.
note, all the drums, all the bass, all the guitars. He does all the vocals, and we love it, except for
Robbie.
Asshole.
who has his own little ear pods and his whole little thing of snacks, which we're gonna talk about because that became a metal song.
Yes.
It went into the next
Does
album.
it make your ears bleed? This is one of my favorite tracks of Greg's all time.
It's probably one of the reasons it's one of our favorites is
That's
because
not
we know exactly what it was
Truly
written
fair,
about.
because Greg and I go way back, and I remember when we started recording in your dad's basement.
My dad's basement.
Yeah.
With my old reel-to-reel.
Yeah,
eight-track.
like we were making music, and then all of a sudden you started doing that.
But it wasn't all of a sudden, though, homie. I just hadn't introduced you to it yet.
Okay, all right. Yeah, okay, yeah. You probably had that. That was I didn't know.
All of a sudden, you just got in the middle.
No, I was impressed every time I go over there, whatever. Greg could pull out a guitar and just do a riff and stuff. It's wow, it was cool. And with that back then, it was what, reel to reel or what?
Reel-to-reel, Tascam, yep.
Damn.
Quarter-inch tape,
Yeah,
8-track.
yeah.
So
And
we do.
because of Gerald,
Yeah.
because of Greg's
My brother.
older brother, who was an amazing guitarist.
Yeah.
And cheers to him, man. Right now.
Cheers.
Silent guys, thank you.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah.
This is an amazing,
We were lucky to
amazing musician.
No,
And
play with him.
He taught Greg how to play, and Greg could throw pinch harmonics dime bag. You know, I mean, incredible guitar work. Thanks to your brother, man. He taught you everything. So
Yeah,
I
no,
know.
Gerald was cool, man. I loved it when he come in to sit in with a Big Cat band, because he just improvise. He just think of a groove and start just jamming. and then we just all
We
had
just
to
all follow.
follow him.
Yeah.
And like you never knew where it would lead, but it was always cool, man. And he just like that was fun. Yeah, he just like look at you, and he'd be like, you know, give me those Gerald eyes, looking at you like, follow this shit. And it's like, okay, yeah.
And he'd come in and tell you blatantly, like when you were playing, what he liked and what he didn't like. And I always like enjoyed his raw sense of humor,
Oh yeah,
but also his honesty about being a musician, because all he ever wanted to be was like the epitome of, you know, a musician.
Yeah.
And
No, yeah.
and he would make everybody's musicianship be better,
yeah.
you know. So
I never experienced anything
where
that
were
wasn't
where
fun
were
with
we
him.
So,
with that?
well, just first of all, if you want to check out Greg's work, it's called Sicosis. You can find it on Spotify, Apple Music, and all those streaming services. But Greg was your second full length record at that point?
At that point, not
was
the one
Welcome
that
to
I
Metal
just
Face
that I
Land.
released on. Yeah, it was actually Metal Face,
Yeah.
you know, but I never released that one though. It's just a bunch of songs that I had recorded.
Okay, yeah. So he was, you know, working on the mixing of these tunes.
Concept album.
Yeah, and so we were listening to it on the way to Craig, and I'll always remember Rob getting out of the truck and going and getting his snacks that he was going to get at the convenience store, and came back in, and he
What am I, 12?
You are, because you always get like
Got my
beef
iPad,
jerky
my bag of snacks.
and some Cheetos.
He had all that stuff,
And,
man.
it
It was a long road trip.
But he,
Yeah,
so he got all of his
granola bar.
snacks and got back into the car. He's sitting in the front seat. And I just remember, almost verbatim, I think he said, I think I would like to stick an ice pick in my eye. This music makes my ears bleed.
That's a compliment.
Then it's working.
He's a real metal fan.
Yeah. So, to make the long story short, there's a song on the next
you
record
share
that
some
Greg did
super
release,
glue?
and the song is called "Does It Make Your Ears Bleed?"
And it's amazing, and we have to put it on the end of this podcast. What do you say, Greg?
Yes.
Oh, well,
But I think what really though, like when that actually happened though, you brought Jake's Scrotus?
Because I was on that trip.
Yeah.
Jake and Dennis's little demo.
Yeah.
You were on that trip?
Yeah, because we
Well,
did with
not
that
the
when
No
we-
Float
when we
Showboat,
put
but
that
when
on the CD player.
Oh,
We
yeah.
talked about
Yeah,
his
I brought
That's when he
ears
like
bleeding.
covered his ears like this.
Scrotus.
That was
Check
going
out
to
Dennis.
Dennis and Jake.
yeah, we were going up north somewhere, Greeley or something.
What?
We were going to Greeley or something for Windsor. It was Windsor.
Windsor, and it's
Windsor
a
was
3-hour
trip.
tour to Windsor. And we got there, and they counseled us or something. And
Yeah, it
we
was
went to
raining.
Hooters.
Then we went to the Hooters and talked to them about Wyoming.
That was the best. I love that.
We might as well be like Rush because like
That was our
girls
best show
hated
ever.
us.
That place.
The Hooters girls were not too pleased with us. One of the big reasons was because Ryan wanted to rail on the fact that we were so close to Wyoming, and he just kept saying, "So what is it like to live in Wyoming?" And the waitress would get very angry and say, "We're not in Wyoming." Next time the waitress came by, he's like, "So is this how you cook them in Wyoming?"
Do you like living in Wyoming?
I was just so excited we didn't have to play. It's like we still got paid. We went to Hooters. It was great.
There's a lot of different kinds of tunes that you can find on Greg's albums, his solo work. Everything's inspired by something. I mean, there's songs about the Avalanche and them winning a championship. You name it. There's a lot of lyric work in Greg's stuff that is just all inspired by real life.
Yeah, like the one where like you're pissed off about your employees.
Oh, one
you
of
know?
my old coworkers. Yeah.
Yeah, your coworkers. That one's great.
Or stupid movies that is about, yes, you
guessed it.
It's a stupid movie. Yeah. that I watched one day and I was like, this movie's stupid.
Just wasted.
And then he went downstairs and started
I
writing
need
the
to write a
lyrics.
song.
But I sat there and
Song
watched the
about
whole
nothing.
Yeah, absolutely nothing.
So for all these years, we have gotten off at exit 108 and driven to Pueblo West in the prairie. Lots of bunnies. Lots of bunnies.
Rabbit season.
It's
Rabbit season.
And so we're talking sometimes it would be 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning after shows. And we always would notice that these bunnies would race
Right across the road, yeah.
Right across the road, right in front of our car.
And Andy would always just say, just like, it's almost like they're playing a game. So that became a lyric there, though. It's
Yeah.
like they're playing a game. So
And so we called the game bunny balls.
Bunny balls,
Like
yeah.
you've got to have
You
some
gotta
balls.
have bunny balls.
it's almost, they'd be like sitting there on the side of the road and wait to the.
Yeah, because
It was really close, too. Then they run right, and I was slamming on the brake, because I didn't want to run them over.
because to lose is to lose.
Yeah, for sure.
We're recording this in May, which is kind of peak training camp season for bunny balls.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, this is when they ramp up. We see some practice runs on our drives home.
Hey, and it's Cinco de Mayo, everybody.
Hey, yeah.
It is.
Feliz Cinco de Mayo, muchachos. Salud.
Salud.
Saludo.
So same exit, I'm assuming, that the bunny balls has been created is the same exit with a more recent story
Zombie guy?
of you all driving home.
Oh yeah.
so
Weird. That is
so
the
tell us
weirdest
about
story
that.
ever.
Gosh, this is just a couple months ago.
That wasn't that long. Zombie guy was
Yeah, it's pretty fresh.
still kind of.
Jeez,
we
my
still,
zombie
we still
guy.
look out for zombie guy.
We do. We still look out for zombie guy.
Run it.
So this exit we're talking about it's fairly rural. I mean, exit 108. There's not really anything out there. There's a
way
park
out
and
there.
ride.
There's a speedway right there
Yeah, on the other side.
on the
It
other
is-
side raceway.
10 or 12 miles outside of our town.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And so we are driving. We're getting off on the off ramp, and we are going towards the stop sign. Again, pretty rural. As we approach the stop sign, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, right behind the stop sign in the bushes, pops a guy.
He just appeared.
He just appeared. He had some sort of cup in his hand.
Scooby Doo episode.
It
And
was.
We're like, what the hell? Who,
But he was walking like a zombie, though.
He was
man.
walking like a zombie.
And, like
His head's
kind of
all
like with the
down.
limp and everything, and
so Steven's driving like, well, what do I do? You know, I don't want to hit the
All,
guy.
all
so-
that ran through my head is I'm not stopping at this stop sign
And
under
he-
any circumstance.
and he tried to get into the truck.
Yeah, he was reaching for the handles, and we
Well,
could
that's
hear him.
good.
He's like, "Ugh."
He did. He made zombie noises. Like he was like, freaky.
is that exactly what zombie noises sound like? I'm just curious.
I mean, it's what we imagined.
It's
so.
my
Better
imagination.
than usually Brooke and I have just guys driving on the wrong side of the highway coming straight at us.
Oh my god.
But yeah, zombie guy really raised the stakes of bunny balls.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Can you
never
try to
know
get
if
into the
zombie comes
car?
out.
Yeah,
Yes.
he reached
Jeez.
for the handle.
He was reaching for both handles, the
Yeah,
front
he's
and
like-
the back.
Lock the door. Lock the door.
He's probably all whacked
And
out
we're like,
on
don't
bath
stop, don't
salts.
stop, just go.
I'm sure.
Can you
Or
play?
they were trying to prank you.
Well,
Maybe.
so anyway, after I dropped everyone off that night, I called the sheriff. I'm like,
Really?
hey, I don't know if this guy was in trouble or causing trouble, but
Just
you're more
more
equipped to
typically
deal with him
causing
than I am.
Yeah. Right. Which you should.
Yeah.
Right? So,
Yeah,
way
no,
to
Because
go.
I didn't know. Maybe he was in trouble. That's why I figured I'd better
Absolutely.
call
Oh,
someone.
like, why
he was
not?
distressed,
Right?
like he needed help.
He can
Maybe.
try to break his way into a sheriff's car instead.
That was my thinking. Yeah, I told the lady. I said, you're more equipped to deal with him than I am. So you might want to go check out there. Exit 108.
Bizarre.
And then Greg wrote a song about it.
Not yet. That one's
Zombie
coming.
balls.
Zombie balls.
You become a stranger to yourself. And down someone turns you into someone else. You become a stranger to yourself. And down falling into line and down you fell. Down you fell.
You just heard a little bit of Stranger to Yourself. That's probably the hardest song, the most rockin' song that we've recorded so far. That's off our latest album, Last Call, and we're going to talk a little bit about that right now. Steven, you said you buried the horn parts in that?
Yeah, I did.
So it
Rest
sounds
in
more
peace.
rockin'.
Just like Metallica.
They're there. There's also a bunch of keyboards too that are pretty low
I
in the
thought
mix.
so.
I use the horns and the keyboards more as of like a texture kind of thing because I don't know. They were pretty jarring if you had them up too high for whatever reason. It just didn't fit. So they are there. They're just very low.
That was a fun day though. We recorded that one in Denver at
Metro State
school.
and
is it Metro State?
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, it was University of Colorado, Denver.
Mm-hmm.
But they share the same campus as Metro, and they had a $100,000 SSL console.
Yeah.
Which-
So I had like 4 hours of studio time a week that I could use for school. And so I got two other buddies and I think we shared it. So it was like
Yeah, combo.
10 or 12 hours worth.
They were great.
Yeah, it was fun.
They were running around setting up mics and everything. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was a pretty cool day.
And we had our shit together,
For those 4 songs that we did.
because we knew we were going in and we were going to spend only that amount of time, and we had to actually put out something. And so we were well rehearsed. So
Which was different than how we normally do it.
which is entirely
Well, and I
different.
think that it was different and special because we finally had the opportunity to play together.
Yep, that was the
Everything-
first.
That was
Everything you hear in the first 2 full-length records, everything was done isolated.
tracked.
Everything was tracked. Drums played by themselves, guitar played by themselves. Everything was by themselves, and we actually got to play as a group. And I think you feel it in this record because most everything that we did on Last Call was played as
Live.
a band. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, certainly the main bones of the song on all of them were done
Yeah.
with everyone playing in the room. We overdubbed all sorts of things, especially this one. There's so many guitar tracks on this song. It's wild. which is probably why the horns and stuff didn't fit because it was so dense already.
Yeah.
And it is like a thing of beauty what you guys came up with for that guitar solo.
Yeah,
section.
Steven one night he was just like, "Hey, I'll come up to your house. I'll take all my shit, and then we'll record the solo." And that took so long. He busted his shit out fast, but that took me forever to
'cause
record that.
For that, we really didn't prepare
No, not at all.
anything. We kind of just
You
hit
had
record.
a structure.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, we
Like,
knew where.
You knew you were going to trade eights.
Right.
Yeah.
But as far as what we were playing, I don't think either of us had too much worked out.
Yeah, not really.
No.
And like we had my amp stuck in the corner and just cranked. Cranked. And it was late at night. I'm sure my neighbors hated me, but it was cranked and I could not get that pinch. So that took forever to do. And then I've always wanted to tap on a solo before. I've never done that, right? So I worked that out. And then Steven laid down his like immediately, and then he came up with that end part
That
we
little
did the
harmony thing we
to.
did, yeah.
That was awesome.
That was fun.
Yeah, that was super fun to
Yeah.
record.
That was like it was really cool for us to like kind of trade off and do that thing together. That was cool.
Well, and the thing I like most about the song and the album in general too is having 3 guitar players on it, which is awesome because you always add in something that I would never think of, and it just tons and tons of layers. So
Yeah, that was one thing that was really cool about this album because I did do, I mean, not on every song, but on a lot of them, I would add like these auxiliary guitar parts that weren't doubling anything that you guys were doing really.
Yeah.
And so that was fun. Some studio fun.
And it's funny to think that, you know, our secret weapon all these years has been that we have horn-driven rock and roll, and that's our thing. But we come back to our rock and roll backgrounds that we all have, and this was like an outlet. That one song was an outlet for all of us to just say, okay, like we're gonna put our rock and roll root, you know, into this piece. I think I even drove the bass a little more than I normally would and played with an edge and tried to make
I think
it
you
more
might even
rock
have
and
like
roll.
some overdrive or something on
Yeah,
this
for,
one.
for whatever reason, you know, like I felt like this was a rock driven song and we were going to prove our rock roots on this tune. And, you know, obviously I'm not saying that like what we did in that aspect was more important, you know, or anything like that. It was just an aspect of us just like expressing ourselves in our rock roots. And I've always thought that our horn parts made us so different as a band. And, you know, it was weird, like thinking, you know, in that aspect, but at the same time, it was like a blast.
Well, and I think you're right,
go
but
for it.
and I think it probably speaks to everyone because as we were writing this, we tried a whole bunch of horn things, and
Nothing was
I think it was wise of us to just say no. Let's not do it for the sake of doing it. I mean, they doubled that. The horns double that guitar melody that happens throughout, and that's really it. I felt like to do more than that probably would have forced something that didn't fit. Which is
And we wrote this one in Brooks' basement, I remember, and rehearsed everything before we went up there. But what are the lyrics about?
Well, the lyrics are about a person that had an awful lot to do with this band, and a person that had an awful lot to do with some professional work that we did. And I think when a friend and a colleague is less than truthful with you, and then it starts to become it just starts to affect the rest of your life, both professionally and also like with the band. That's the lyrical content. There is just somebody that has been less than truthful to you, and has become a stranger to themselves and to you. It's like you didn't even know them. You thought you knew somebody, and then you find out that you don't. As much as I think one thing that's big with our group and as this brotherhood that we have here is that we can trust each other. We can, we know we have each other's back, so on and so forth. And when you have a relationship with somebody and it turns out that that person may not have the ability to be as truthful with you as you would expect, that's where the lyrics come from there.
And on that note,
Ryan's stomach started
it's
talking.
growling.
And he's all serious. It's like, hello. He just looks at me and goes. Funny thing is, I didn't know if it was him or me.
I actually forgot what the song was about.
You catch it though, right?
Oh yeah.
And Steven, is this the only song that you played guitar on? On the album?
No,
He played guitar on almost every song, right?
I played guitar on most songs.
Well, and even now, Steven plays his guitar part on Saturday night, because we play Saturday night very frequently as compared. We will probably never play this song, live, unless Ryan decides he wants to come out of retirement.
Never say never.
But with Saturday night, he plays his part. So really, Ryan's part is missing now when we play Saturday night without him there. I just play the regular, chords.
Okay.
And so, yeah, it gives a different flavor.
This is the only song that I played a featured part on.
Yeah.
And we always wanted to do that.
Yeah.
It's like we got to do like a dual rock and roll solo, man.
Yeah, that's what the whole
it
the
was
whole
awesome.
concept of it was.
Yeah.
It was fun.
That was years in the making.
Yeah.
Would this been the first time that for the CD release party, because you were playing sax for us at the time, this CD release party, was this the first time that you played guitar with the group?
As a member of the group, yes.
Yeah, other than just sitting in, yeah.
Yeah.
Because when he was in high school, he'd sit in. He'd come and grab my guitar and play with Ryan.
Yeah.
Grab guitar, you play with Ryan, and then also sit in on sax. And, Okay.
But trying to recreate this at the CD release party was...
Nerve-wracking.
I was so nervous, but it was hard.
Yeah.
A lot of these songs at the CD release party, it was like, man, I got to be in the zone.
Yeah.
And we pulled it off.
It was fun.
I wish it was recorded, actually. That would have been pretty cool.
That would have been cool.
Yeah. CD all the way through. That was fun.
Is this the only CD release party where we did that?
Yes.
Yeah.
We played the whole album all straight through.
So for the previous record, Shaken and Stirred, we were at Festival Fridays. So we were doing the regular cover show with, sprinkles of Martini Shot tunes. Shoot, I don't even remember what we did for Dry and Dirty. But yeah, this
The same thing.
This one we truly it was a focus. We were going to play the record top to bottom. And it was, we created a little bit of a monster there because we were pretty nervous.
Yeah, I remember having some lead sheets on the monitor just because all those songs, trying to remember what we played, written it down, all that kind of stuff as well.
Well, and I think a big difference with that album was we wrote parts not with the intention of not playing it live, but we wrote what we wanted to be there.
Yeah.
And so to adapt that to playing live was a bit of a challenge at times.
A more Beatlesque approach.
Yeah.
Yeah. We put it in because we felt like it helped the song. And then when we played it live, we tried to figure out how to make that work, which I think we did a pretty good job of. Andy's vocals sound great on this song.
They do.
Thanks, man.
And you did a great job
Thanks.
after your mad scientist mental breakdown.
It was a mad scientist.
I just remember showing up to Johnny's and you look like you hadn't slept in a week.
I was so fried. Yeah.
And wasn't there something where we uploaded?
Oh yeah, I
uploaded it?
screwed it up.
I uploaded like
He called me. Oh my goodness. He called me. He's like, I messed it all up, man. I'm sorry. I just can't handle it anymore. I messed it all up. I'm like, calm down, calm down. What happened?
It's a very valuable lesson for people to know that you could work on something forever and never be fully satisfied.
For sure.
So it's helpful to have people around you to tell you like, hey, you're done. It's good.
There's enough paint strokes or brush strokes on the painting, right? It's like,
Because I hear it now even. I'm like, oh, I want to open the session up and mess with it. And I don't, thankfully. But good.
Well, another episode of Confessions of a Wedding Band in the books. Thank you so much for listening to our little experiment in documenting our stories. Check us out on all the socials. Just look for Martini Shot. And of course, check out our website, martinishotband.com. This podcast is produced by all of us here at the Martini Shot and audio engineered by our very own resident sound wizard, Stephen Falsetto. Keep supporting local music in your community and don't forget about your wait staff. Tip them and tip them well. Laters.